Finally, I can live out my dream of being a Navy fighter pilot! No, Dad, I meant being a paperboy.
Millennial.
News time. So originally Paperboy was an arcade game in the 80s which got ported to every conceivable system. So far it's been my experience that most people have played some version of this game, whether it be on one of the myriad of PC ports including the Armstrad CPC, which sounds like the name of a government agency. Maybe that's who Jeeves worked for. But far more relevant to you guys, probably, are the console ports. This game is most famous for its NES release. This may be because it was the first NES game developed in the US of A, all thanks to our buds over at Atari. Sure, they almost killed video games as a medium, but they gave us Paperboy, so I guess we're all... You know what, Atari, you can go flub yourself. However, it also saw a port to Genesis, or I guess the Mega Drive in places like Australia, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Atari Lynx, Sega Master System, a sequel on NES, SNES, and Genesis, and finally, the game we'll be looking at today, a 3D remake for the N64. Yeah, before we had this, or this, there was this. Be glad you weren't born in the 90s. I know I am. So yeah, it's not like Atari made a few of these. This was kind of like Atari's Rayman 2 in that they tried to milk it as much as possible. The main difference being that Rayman 2 is always fun, well, except for the iOS version, but that's a story for another day. So what exactly is the Game Boy of Paperboy like? Well, basically, you're a paperboy, obviously. But you're not exactly a normal paperboy. You see, this nameless Lovecraftian beast throws papers straight from his bike without getting off his bike or even stopping or slowing down. Wow, what an irresponsible worker, not to mention the amount of papers he's willing to throw just to hit one house. Sometimes even breaking their windows. Paperboy calls it quits, more like Paperboy fired for negligence and sued for property damage. Seriously, you gotta be the worst paperboy in human history. That's not even the end of all the weird stuff here. There's also some dude rolling tires into the street. People refusing to stop their cars when he's rolling past, sometimes actively trying to run him over. And even this old lady where if you hit her, you completely crash turbo dismount style. But she's just fine! What's up with that? Is she made out of bricks or something? So yeah, everybody wants you dead. To be completely honest, I'm not at all surprised. If my local paperboy was breaking my windows, littering papers everywhere, and delivering newspapers with articles like Paperboy calls it quits, I'd be pretty upset as well. However, that's not the worst thing in this game. The most alien concept, the most outlandish occurrence is that there's 10 people on a block that want a newspaper. All that craziness aside, how does it play? Well, for starters, it's clear this is based on an old arcade game, because it's not all that complex. That's not automatically bad, though. There are some really good repetitive games out there. Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Tetris, just to name a few. The main mechanic here, as I mentioned before, is throwing papers. Your goal is to deliver a set amount of houses in each stage by landing papers on the doormat or the mailbox. You have a limited supply of papers, which can be refilled by picking up more, which are just laying on the street. Oh, and there's a pretty chill time limit. Repeat for a handful of stages, go through such memorable settings as regular old neighborhood, trailer park, beach, and a Halloween town. What universe does this guy live in where he's got all this crazy stuff constantly trying to kill him? Oh, now it makes sense. There's also a final boss fight, but it's no Mike Tyson. It's basically you just throw papers to Tesla towers and avoid Frankenstein here. And yes, for all you wannabe English teachers, I know, it's Frankenstein's monster. Calm yourselves, I'm aware. Despite the overwhelming simplicity of Paperboy64, I still think it warrants a play if you can find it on the cheap. Or you can emulate it. Which I would never do because I'm not a scumbag! It's not great, but it makes for a good afternoon with some friends if you're really that bored. I wonder what the original MSRP was. Atari! thanks for watching. That was just kind of a little taste of what I plan to do with this channel from now on, and put a lot more effort into my videos. Hopefully we'll have a better upload schedule too as I sink more time into them. But, you know, I'm a busy man, so can't even say that with a straight face. But thank you for watching again. Please check out my Twitch, and stay tuned a second for some funny outtakes. Alright guys, let me know in the comments if you liked it and you want to see more stuff like this, alright? See ya. Play if you can find it. It's not great, but it makes for a decent afternoon with some friends if you're really that bored.